Stage 4 of the Tour of the Alps had a typical alpine backdrop. Snowy mountains, but some grey skies that threatened more bad weather after the peloton had been pummeled by rain on day 3. It was a cold, horrible day in Austria, but they were back in Italy, and at least the sunshine was threatening to come out at the start. There was a new race leader in Juanpe Lopez, so Tobias Foss was now in the red points leader's jersey. Tiberi was still in the white jersey for the best young rider, and Mattia Bais in the blue jersey as king of the mountains. A big day in prospect, almost 4,000 metres of climbing, 4 big climbs to take on, the last 3 particularly difficult. 2 of the last 3 first category classified climbs. First the Passo del Compet, then the Passo del Vetriolo, finishing with Colle San Marco, and a stage finish after 140 kilometres in Borgo Valsugana. Out on the race, 11 riders got in a breakaway, and a few dangerous riders in the general classification, including Piganzoli, Covilli. Hugh Carthy was in there as well, despite having lost time the day before due to an untimely bike change. Juan Pedro Lopez led the race by 31 seconds over Tobias Foss, with Ben O'Connor at 45 seconds. With 57.5 kilometres remaining, Sergio Higuita decided to try and shake up that 11-man group. Simon Carr went with him, and with 56 k's to go, Simon Carr and Sergio Higuita were alone. 20 seconds over the rest of the group that was breaking up. Piganzoli, who had initially gone with them, dropped, and still a 1-4-1 back to the peloton. Maximum points on the first of the big category 1 climbs for Simon Carr. And with that, he'd go into the lead in the King of the Mountains competition. But it was with 45 kilometres to go that Simon Carr was all alone already. 12 months on from a big win here. The final stage went to him in 2023. He was looking for a repeat. He left behind Higuita, but Higuita was hanging in there at around 15 to 20 seconds. In the main group behind, things were splitting up and the general classification action was starting. O'Connor attacked several times. Wout Poels gave it a couple of tries. And Juanpe Lopez defended with his heart and his head, following the right moves at the right moments. Even leaning on others to do the work at times. Higuita was on his way to being caught by those attackers from behind. And Carr, alone at the front and over the final first category climb of the day. Lopez was still defending well, but O'Connor was looking menacing. An extension to that lead in the King of the Mountains jersey. His jersey would be his at the end of the day, but was that going to be his only prize? A long 18-kilometre descent was next up. Everybody dressing up for it, and other riders getting back on, such as Chris Harper. Bardet was still there, as was Sosa. Scenic hairpins on the way down, and a 48-second lead for Simon Carr. He was desperately trying to feed, make sure he kept himself in the right place and in the right shape to finish the job. And still 1 climb to go after the long descent here. He was away, as was Chris Harper, who was just off the front of the peloton. Ben O'Connor would soon follow him, and both would start to take a little bit of time on what was left. But then Chris Harper crashed at the bottom, thankfully sitting up and talking to the medical staff, but unable to continue after a shocker of a crash in which he hit his head on a lamppost. Ben O'Connor also followed him down, but he was straight back to his feet and able to pedal on. Pedalling on though, but not at any sort of pace, the group behind really hesitated. It was a case of after you, sir, until Valentin Paré-Peintre got back on and then went straight past them. He soon grabbed almost a minute on Juanpe Lopez and was on his way to threatening the green leader's jersey. Lopez and co had to react. O'Connor was marking. Bardet followed well, as did Storer and several others. Poels and Tiberi still looked good. And all this happening while Simon Carr was just over 10 kilometres from victory. His win in 2023 had been the springboard to even more success. He'd already won at the start of this season on day one in Mallorca. In the meantime, Bardet was caught behind. Carr was celebrating out front. Out of the picture in the general classification at almost 40 minutes down, having suffered from allergies over the first couple of days of the race. A stage win, a brilliant one, the 10th for his team this season. And Ben O'Connor behind tried to steal a few seconds on the brilliant Juanpe Lopez, who continued to defend well. That move would go to the line in the final few hundred metres. Storer taking 6 bonus seconds, 4 to O'Connor, and then a gap timed at 3 seconds. So 7 seconds back for O'Connor. All the delight and the glory to Simon Carr and EF Education Easy Post, the Franco-British rider having taken stage 4 of the Tour of the Alps. Carr ahead of Storer with O'Connor in third. Pauls, Bardet, Tiberi, Balde, Lopez, Pellizzari and Steinhauser were the top 10 on the day. A brutal day in the mountains. Taken home with the longest ever solo win since this race became the Tour of the Alps a few years back. Simon Carr beating his own record from last year. It's his way. In the GC, Juanpe Lopez now has 38 seconds on Ben O'Connor, so it's still all to play for going into the final mountainous stage. They're all mountainous at the Tour of the Alps. But another day in green, and Juanpe Lopez, 2 days on from his first ever pro win, will be hoping to take a first ever GC bit of success as well.